Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to PhilDoes3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream on Twitch weekdays from 5 PM Pacific time in the US, 12 PM in Australia and 1 AM in the UK. Let's load up our scene from yesterday. We finished texturing it up, so that's good. I wanted to shout out a thank you to CG Gal and Alchemist for following my Twitch channel. Thank you very much guys, I really do appreciate it. I see Sniper Echo is already in chat. It's always good to see you in the chat, Sniper Echo. So we finished doing the texturing yesterday. Today we're just going to fix up any intersecting problems with any of the meshes. We're going to bring in the two new angel statues and we're going to start growing some ivy on the garden terrace. Making sure everything is running properly. It looks like it is. I'm always paranoid when I'm going to mute my mic by mistake. Come on, mate. Come on, load up my file. I've noticed Max has become a bit sluggish lately. I don't know whether that's because of the latest Windows 10 update or not. Or the new NVIDIA drivers that were released the other day. It's always good to see you, Sniper. Oh, good. I just knew a week or two ago I was streaming, I did my introduction and jumped into Max and realised that I had my mic muted. No one could hear me for the first like 2 minutes of my cast. I'm always paranoid since then. And Max is taking a while to load up again. It'll get there. It took a while yesterday as well. But we've finally finished the texturing, so that's good news. Come on, mate. You found Blender's got sluggish after the NVIDIA driver update a few days ago. I'm glad somebody else is finding a problem too in another piece of software, because that's the only thing I can put it down to. Prior to that NVIDIA driver update, Max used to load up relatively quickly considering the scene, but now it seems to be taking twice as long. It does get there eventually, but it just seems to be taking it forever. And the only two things that changed were the cumulative update to Windows 10 and the new NVIDIA driver. So I'm going to blame either Microsoft or NVIDIA, one of the two, or both. Wouldn't be the first time either of them was stuffed up. Alright. Let's start fixing up some of these intersecting problems we're having with a few of the meshes. I'm going to start, I think, by grouping or attaching these pieces of geometry. They shouldn't be separate anyway. Yeah, it could be Microsoft Sniper Echo. They've made some mistakes in the past as well with their drivers. Yeah, probably both, that's right. I'm just going to throw an edit poly down and do an attach on these pieces here. What are you doing? Attach. Right. So I think what we'll do is we'll go around the model now and we'll start fixing up these small problems that we're having some intersection. Before I do the that column, let me just do this one as well. I really should have attached these, but that's okay. We'll do it now. Now I am going to save two versions of this file, one with everything separate, like it is now, and then one where I attach everything together, with the exception of the angel statues, probably just in case people want to remove them from the model if they buy it, or they want to use them on their own. So these statues and the two I put up the top I'll keep separate. but everything else I'm going to be attaching together. This makes using the model and moving it around inside of View or whatever 3D software they're using easier for them. I'm just going to rename these as well while I'm doing this. So I'm going to call this one column D for bottom of stair and L for left. And I'll do the one on the right hand side as well. And R for the right. That's just so that if I ever have to come back in and find anything in particular, it'll be easier for me to find it if it's named correctly. There's a couple of things in here are still grouped that I'm going to have to attach, so. Middle sphere, that's named okay. Sphere is okay. I'm just going to select these pieces of geometry that I want to move up and we'll move them. No problem. I'm sure you'll see me creating these sort of things again. If enough people are interested in photogrammetry and that type of thing, then I'll do a stream where I go through how I create them in the new year at some stage, I'm sure. I know that there are a few people that want me to do some stuff with the Unreal Engine as well. So we'll do a few different things next year. I just wanted to lift them up so they weren't intersecting the floor there. The same with these ones, by the look of it, they're too low. So this is just a stage now where I go around and correct any little errors that I've made while I've been modelling. I'm just going to collapse the stacks, it's getting a bit long. We'll call this one column, stair, top, L for left. So yeah, I'm sure Sniper Echo, like I said, in the new year, I'll do some more photogrammetry work and you'll see me creating things like those angel statues. I just wasn't sure how many people were interested in that type of work. I'm sure apart from you there'll be other people, so I probably will. I'll do a stream on it. And like I said, I'll also do a stream on using the Unreal Engine at some stage. You're doing some Unreal Engine stuff, so it'd be nice to see. Well, cool. I'm glad you're not the first person that said that they use Unreal and they'd be interested. So I'll definitely do something in Unreal, even if it's just me pulling in one of my models here and setting it up in Unreal. So I show you guys how I do that. Make that on. I just have to choose the model carefully because a lot of my models are a bit too high poly for Unreal. Now we have a bit of a problem there where that sphere is intersecting the middle sphere is intersecting the ball, so I'm just going to move that over. So yeah, definitely in the new year we'll do some stuff in Unreal, and I'll also show you guys how I do photogrammetry and create these type of statues. Because like I said, photogrammetry will give you the basic shape, but then you're going to have to take it into either ZBrush to pull up some of the finer details, and then into Mari to fix up any texture work. You're never going to get a clean texture either out of photogrammetry. But it's a good starting point. Alright, they look good. I'm just going to pull them up a bit now. And I'm just choosing both of them at the same time so that they're both at the same height. You always wondering about was what's too high poly and what's not. Well, Unreal has actually gotten a lot better now. With modern video cards, they're all pretty powerful, so it's not as much of a problem as it used to be when I was mainly doing a lot of games work. You still want to try and reduce it as much as possible. You don't want to waste polygons or textures. I'm just having a look here. I think I'll leave them sitting above on the step itself as opposed to on the terrace. Yeah, so you don't have to be as careful with polygons and texture sizes as you used to be, but you still got to keep it in mind. You don't want to go wasting polys or wasting textures, because you know there's a lot of other things that have to run in memory when you're running a game, so you can't waste memory particularly. Well, you shouldn't anyway. Alright, I'm going to look at these columns here now. I have a feeling they just look a bit too small to me. But again, I'll go through all of that Sniper Echo. When I do Unreal, when I create the model in Unreal and start working on it, I'll have a look at how many polys it is, and then I can tell you guys what I think is best for the model I'm working on as far as polygon counts go if it's too high. I'm just looking at this column here. I have a feeling I really want it to be either not intersecting this at all or bigger and intersecting both of those borders here at the front. I think I probably wanted to intersect the borders completely. It's more in line with the way it looks here with this column. So I don't want to raise the height of them though, because I think with the urns on top they're at the right height. So I think I'll just make them a little larger by scaling it in the X and Y. They're going to go out of alignment, but that's okay, we'll move them back. And actually I may have to scale them in the Y as well, I think. Yeah, I will. Just because at the moment they're sitting level with that terrace, and I want to bring them down level with the bottom of the banister here, or border. Now, a good way to do this would be to work in the top viewport or side viewport, but I like to see what it's going to look like as I'm working on it, so I'm just going to stick to the 3D viewport here. Think it's because I'm selecting both of them at once, which is making their pivot point here in the middle. If I just did one of them at a time, then it wouldn't go out of alignment. Because I'm selecting both and scaling, it's moved their pivot point to the middle here, and I'm doing both at the same time, so I don't have so that they stay the same size. If I do one, it's going to be harder for me then to scale the second one to the same size. I'd have to move it over, make sure it was the same, and then move it back. Doing it this way, I can do both at once. But it just means that the pivot point is being moved to the middle of the selection here. Yeah, I selected both. So I want both of them to be the same size. That's interesting. Looks like I may have moved the column in there to cover the end of the banister.
I hear the army coming round the corner.
Alright, let's scale it up a bit more, and if that doesn't work I'll go back to the way it was and I'll move it in instead of moving it out. I'm going to scale on all axes at the same time at the moment at this stage. Now I'm just going to select the first one here and move it over. Move it back a little. I think what I'll do is I'm going to reduce that. I'm going to take that end piece off. Just going to pull back here and look at the column itself and as to whether it looks like it's going to look odd if it's sticking out like that. I don't think it will. I'm just checking that we're not getting any the column's not intersecting any of the railings or anything. Alright, let's work on that problem we have here with the railing just sticking out a bit too far. Yeah, I have to decide now whether I want to do this or I want to take it back, because if I cut the railing and remove it and I decide then I want to move the column back, it's probably going to end up too short. So is there an option in Max to have 2 pivot points both centered? Not that I'm aware of. You can change your pivot point up here in the view menu, but because you have 2 selected at the same time, I don't think any of these will we'll move the selection into the middle of both, but let's have a look. Let me select the other one. At the moment in default it defaults to the middle. Screen space is still in the middle. World space is still in the middle. Parent. Actually parent space it's moved it here, so good point. Let's see if it's going to scale both at the same time. Going to go in the wire here. There you go, you're exactly right, which is something I wasn't aware of either. But in view mode, sorry, it's defaulted back, but in parent mode, if you select, it will move it to the middle and then it will do both at the same time. So well done. You'll notice though when you sometimes when you leave a selection menu, like if I go from that to a move, it didn't do it now, but before it defaulted back to the middle. So it's good to know, but just always keep an eye on it, because sometimes, like I said, it will pop back into the center of the selection. But that definitely works. So up in the view menu here, if you're using Max, that is, that'll affect the pivot point. And I do recommend though, if you do change the pivot point, to change it back when you start working on something else. Otherwise you might end up not knowing where your pivot is. Right. Well, it's something that I generally haven't experienced before. Normally with these sort of things I don't select 2 things to make a change to a piece of geometry. It's rare that I have to select 2 objects at the same time, and so I wasn't really aware of that either. But I was aware of that we could move the pivot point at Max, but I didn't know that setting it to parent would move it to the middle of one object, so affect both at the same time. So it's a good tip to know. And if Blender has it, yeah, well, it's good that Max has it as well. I would have been annoyed if it didn't then. And like I said, I'm just deciding whether I want to keep the column out, sticking out like that or not. And I think I do. Yeah, I think I do, because I want to keep it more in line with these columns here, and they actually sit inside of the border as well, so I think it would just keep it a bit more, looking more consistent, and also help to add a bit more interest to the front of the model down here. Alright, so we've decided we're going to leave the column sticking out a little, but I do need to fix this banister railing being a bit too long. Just before I do that though, I'm going to move this column back into position. I'm going to go back into view mode here for my pivot point. Yeah, it certainly is. Particularly, like I said, if you don't do selecting multiple objects to scale or anything at the same time, it's not something you would probably first think of doing, changing your pivot up there. Like I said, I often work with this menu to change my pivot point, but I'm usually only working with one object when I'm doing it, so. I'm just going to jump into the top viewport here quickly because I want to check the alignment on these two. Max, again, being a little bit sluggish for me. So I'm going to pull that over just a bit so that they're both in line with the urns. That's how I know I can line them up to be in the same spot again. And we're going to go back to our main viewport here. And I just want to see if this this banister is actually sticking out as well. And it is, I think. Yeah, it is. Alright. Again, let me have a look at this before I make any major changes to geometry. Again, I do think I like the column at the front better than up here on the top. So let's select our banister here and make a correction to the sticking out like that. Just trying to think the best way for me to tackle this. It's probably going to be to cut it probably through here on the corner, I think. Let's throw it at a poly down, and instead of using a cut, I'm going to use a quick slice, and that'll cut through the entire geometry at once. It's going to should probably do this in the top viewport. Yeah, I agree. I think the column being down just makes it more in line with this column here. Makes it, they match a lot better than it being up here on top of the terrace. I'm just going to, the shadow is getting in my way a bit, so. Alright. I'm going to go into isolation mode here and into edged faces. And this is where we made our cut. So I'm going to select our polys here on the end. Just going to double check I got the right ones, and I have. And I'm going to delete them. I'm just going to cap these end pieces. And we'll exit isolation mode. I'm going to turn off edge faces. I think that makes more sense. It looks that the border ends at the corner of the column now. Right, let's do the same thing to the one on the other side. And again, my shadows are getting a bit annoying. I could turn them off. I won't though. I could. I should. But I won't. Let's do another quick slice through here. And let's also jump back into isolation mode again. And jump back into edged faces. And we're going to select the polys on the end. Now, you see what I did there? When I did that quick slice, it sliced it on an angle, and that's because don't do this. I'm going to turn off edge faces here for a minute. I've just done an undo on what I did before. And I am going to jump into my top viewport here. Really, when you're doing a cut like that, it should be on the top. It's a little more difficult for me to see the corner, but I think I can see it there, so we should be good. Again, let's go back into quick slice, and we're going to cut the geometry through here. Then again, I'm going to jump back into isolation mode. Back into edged faces. And I'm going to select my polys here on the end and delete them. And again, I'm just going to cap the ends here. Now I may have to go back into my texture map and just fix up that texturing there, because we've added polygons that weren't a part of the original UV map. I'm just going to jump out of isolation mode and have a look at it before I look at that though. Because most of the texture is actually hidden by it's actually in the floor, so. And, I think we could probably get away with leaving it because it's right in that corner. I don't see anyone angling their render where they're going to go, and you can see that tiny bit of texture stretching there. If it bothered you though, all you'd have to do is throw an unwrap UVW on the mesh and select the Do you want me to show you how you would fix it, or are you guys... I'm happy to show you if anyone is interested. But for me, I generally wouldn't worry about fixing that bit of texturing that's stretching just there, because it's in such a small piece of geometry, in such a tight corner of the model. No one's ever going to see it. But I'm happy to show you guys how to fix it if you want to know. So you let me know. I'm just going to move these urns back into position. Again, we're in parent mode here. I'm going to jump back into view mode just to move my pivot into the middle. Now I'm just going to select one and move it over the center of that column. Yeah, well, like I said, I'm happy to show you guys. It's not a hard fix. It's just probably an unnecessary one for that tiny little corner there. Basically, though, what you do is you get into your unwrap UVWs, whatever program you're using. You select that face. You detach it, so you unweld it. If it's welded, you break it apart, and then you move it into a part of the texture that's normal, and that's how you fix it. So yeah, you just go into your UV unwrap, whatever program you're using, and detach that part of the UV and move it around into another part of the texture. Okay, I was wondering what was going on. It looks like our burns here are a bit high. So. Alright, we will move back into our parent mode here. I pull it down until it just intersects the top of the column. Now again, this is something probably best done in top view, so I might jump into the top viewport here. Why am I not orthographic? And again, I'm going to go back into view mode, and I'm only going to work on one of these at a time. And this is a good example of how you probably don't want them both to be exactly in the same spot. Like I was saying yesterday, if they're a little bit off, it looks more natural. It doesn't look like a machine has built the model for you. So I'm purposefully going to make one of them a little further back than the other. Just so it looks like a person has put those down and not a machine. See, one's a little further forward, one's a little further backward. Not by much, just slightly. And I may even actually make them a little bigger. I'm just going to jump back into my perspective view here and have a look. Yeah, I may do that. I may scale them up, but not in height, just in width. So again, I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to go to my scale. I'm going to go back actually into view mode here. I want to see them both at the same time. I'm not going to scale in the Z, I'm just going to scale in the X and Y. Actually, I will go back into parent mode. Just because I don't want it to move. I just wanted to make them a little fatter. And that looks good, I think. Just a bit bigger, have a bit more, you notice them a little bit more in the model. I didn't want them any higher though, because I don't want them to go up above the level of the top terrace. So. Again, because I noticed people will probably put plant life in here, and you don't want your I didn't want the column to be too high to cover up any of this back part. So they may put flower and put flowers in there, or topiary or something, and that'll, even if they do, it'll still allow people to see the top of the banister here. That's why I didn't make these columns too high, and just to create balance through the front of the model as well. This way they sit about halfway up the angel statue. So alright, let's review what we've done. We've fixed these bottom columns intersecting, we've fixed the top ones, we've made these bigger, we've cut the banister borders here, made our columns a little bit fatter. Now I'm going to make sure all of these supports are sitting correctly on the base. And to do that, I'm going to, before I do anything actually, I'm going to save the model because I don't want to have to lose any of the work we've just done. Looks like my t-shirt might be picking up my green screen. Maybe. I purposely chose a colour that we could put it like a yellow. No problem. I'll be here. Okay. Well, while Sniper Echo is grabbing his copy, I'm just going to start selecting. I'm going to select the base here, which is that sandstone. And I'm going to start selecting these supports. What did I do there? And that's just so that I can take it into isolation mode and I'll be able to see them a lot more easily. I'm going to do this so that I can check that none of them are intersecting the geometry. I know that there are a couple around the back that are. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of going into isolation mode. It prevents you from accidentally moving or selecting part of the geometry you don't want to. And it also speeds up your viewport because you've got less polygons that you have to push around. I'm going to grab these two here at the front. I'm just holding down the control key while I do this so I can do a multi-selection. And I'm going to grab the ones on the inside here as well. I'm pretty sure they're okay, but we may as well while we're here. I know there's one more in here I need to get. The ones on this side. That one just in there. Okay, we should have them all selected now, so I'm just going to pull back here quickly and double check. Looks like I may have forgotten these two. Maybe not. Let me go into isolation mode. I'll find out pretty quickly that way. No, I think we got them all. Cool, you're back. I've just selected the base and the supports here because I want to check problems like these ones here, where they're intersecting the geometry, and it's easier for me to isolate the selection and do it this way. So let's start at the front here. I think this one's a little far in. Again, I'm going to change my axes here to local space so that I can easily move it backwards and forwards and not up on an angle. I'm just pulling it forward so it doesn't intersect the wall there. Let's check the ones on this side. Might just pull this one forward a little bit as well. And again, with the axes here, I'm working in local mode. Alright, now I'm just going to run around the outside here to make sure that there aren't any problems with intersecting geometry. There's one here. And I'm also going to rotate that around a little bit. Okay, now these ones are at the back. This is where that really long piece of banister is. The others are all fairly short, but this one is long, and I know I placed 2 supports here, but I'm thinking 3 would be better.